Daniel knows the deal. You should see a little red thing pop up in the corner of your screen, which you
There
guys
we
see
are.
right now. So you know what that means. We are
Woo.
live. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to another Pin to Gas podcast. I'm your host, Chris Show Simcoe. My man Daniel Shoemaker is the co-host, and of course, we got today the superstar herself, Mallory Dobbs. What is up?
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey
I,
girl, how you
hey.
doing? How's it
Yeah.
going?
That's not who I am. Sorry. Well, back up a little bit. No. So
Hey, it is recorded, it is on the internet, it is never going anywhere.
it
Never,
is
You're good.
forever
ever.
on the interwebs.
Yep.
All right. All right.
Forever on there. But yeah, so listen, me and Mallory, obviously I've been a huge fan of yours for a while, right? And we actually sought to seek you out, of course, in Jersey, like I did everybody, right? I was like a hound dog through the pits. Anyway, so yeah, we finally met and asked you to be an honor to be here, and here we are. So
Yeah.
yes, listen, let's get into this. Mallory, I've been excited about this and I've already said this. So why don't you obviously everybody knows who Mallory Dobbs is, right? The superstar that you are. Let's get into it. How did you actually get into motorcycles to begin with?
You're talking me up here. I don't know if I'm a superstar, but um, I really
Like,
appreciate it.
Somebody
Thank
was
you.
top 10 in hooligans at Coda this year.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
we held our own. We held our own.
all right, all right, all right.
I still, we always want to do better as racers. We're always
Oh yeah.
trying to shoot for better. It's never
Of
good enough.
course.
Yeah, so I got into motorcycles in 2016. I had a boyfriend who bought a bike and I rode on the back of it for a couple months and I kind of hated it. So that's like I feel like most like women's like start is like, oh yeah, somebody because like my family was not into motorcycles at all. Like my dad drag raced cars a little bit and he's a classic car guy, and so I grew up around like cars and restoring stuff, never motorcycles at all. I think my grandpa had a Harley, but I never rode on it or anything. So I bought my own bike and started riding on the street. And I bought a 2007 R6S, and it was my favorite. I love that thing.
Was
So
that the Raven edition?
uh,
Oh
The
God.
black?
no,
Oh
it's
Jesus.
it
Okay.
was
Everybody does it. The the
what's
best one was
funny.
the Knight Rider edition that I got one
Yeah,
time working at a bike shop. I was like, what?
the flames
No.
on the side, the flames.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it was wrecked and someone put Raven fairings on it. So it had a red tank and a red tail, which the Raven didn't have. Like the Raven was
Right.
black. And but I couldn't tell you how many people like tried to mansplain to me that it was an '03 R6 because the body style. And I was like, no, it's an '07, blah blah blah. This is why it has the forks inverted and all these things. And they were like, and like I had to like go through it because I had to do a lot of research to figure out like parts and stuff for it.
Right.
But that thing was all reliable, and I about 6 months after I started riding on the street, I met some people at my college that did track days, and they were like, "Hey, you should come out." And the ridge, is in my backyard, right? I'm 30 minutes from there, so I just drove out there and I got to see what it was about and met some cool people. And they were like, "Yeah, you should come out. Come out here and see what it's about." And I was like, "This seems illegal that we could do this cool thing for the amount of money that it's like $200 or $300. You go to a track day and you get to go as fast as you want. So I got all the gear, started riding track days. I did, I think, my first track day. And this girl approached me. We're still friends. Her name's Emily. She was 15 at the time. She approached me and she goes, "Hey, you should come to Thunderhill with us." And I was like, "Who's us? And what is Thunderhill? And why are you talking to me about it?" I had showed up to my very first track day with my dad's Dodge 3500, and that was lifted. And my and it, and I didn't
Was
want to
the
put the
bike in
bike.
the back of the truck?
No, no,
Oh,
Okay.
it gets
that's what I was
better.
gonna
Look,
ask.
look,
Yeah.
No,
you're not making it easy on yourself here.
no, and that's why I didn't want to put it in the back of the truck because then I wouldn't be able to get it out on my own, right? And I didn't
Yeah.
know how helpful people would be, and I didn't want to be the damsel. And so my dad had a 8 foot by 20 foot enclosed car trailer. So I towed the car trailer with my one motorcycle in it right in the front with my suit hanging on the wall. And I showed up to this track day with like this huge thing for my one street bike. And so this
Nice.
girl Emily approached me because she was like, "Oh, look at this trailer. We need a trailer to take everybody's stuff down. So you should come." And I kind of just went on a whim and I invited one of my friends who ended up bailing last minute. So I went with all these people I didn't know. And I took like, 6 or 7 bikes and we all caravaned down to Thunderhill and did the 3 days where we do like 2 days at East and 1 day at West or whatever. So we did the little track one day and then the big track for 2 days. And of course, we had all these conversations about racing and stuff. And literally, we were like, one of the friends raced and he was like, we should start a race team and get these race bikes and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm in. I'm freaking in. So I'd done like 3 track days at that point, and I was like, I'm doing it. I bought a $1,500 03 R6 that had been raced for a long time. It was a little tired, and I had the spares and the wheels and all that stuff. And I started racing the next season. So I started racing in 2017. And I just kind of did it for fun, you know, with the club racing people and hanging out on the weekends and just kind of BSing. I didn't really like invest a lot of time into like coaching or anything. You know, I was just kind of like one of those people that showed up and just rode and had a blast. Did that for a while. And then once Motoamerica came to the Ridge, I was like, you know, I kind of want to do that. Like, I'd love to do a national event. Like, I think I could do it. So then I invested in some coaching with JP, with Jason Pridmore, and just started doing a lot more riding. I bought a new bike and like basically invested a ton of money into doing Motoamerica in 2022. So last year. And I did my first 2 rounds last season. So I did the Ridge, and then I was like, I want to do another one. And I somehow managed to put together a program to go to Laguna. Went to Laguna, figured out if I could if I could race a track I'd never been to, right, and qualify, like if I was really fast
Right.
enough. And we squeaked by and barely qualified, but we made it.
Hey,
And
you're in the show. Who cares?
That's
yeah,
it, right?
yep. So we made the show, and then literally last year, so then we kind of just put some stuff together, and then somehow managed to put together a Super Hooligans ride with Ducati Richmond and Doreen. And so I was like, okay, well, we're gonna do full season, you know, Super Hooligans. Maybe I'll do a couple Super Sport rounds. And I had a lot of conversations with people about like, when are you ever going to be ready for Moto America, like full season, you know? Because I'm like, I don't know, like that's a lot of money, and I don't really know what I'm doing, and like all these things. And I had a lot of conversations. I was like, well, you're never going to be ready, and you'll figure out a way to make it happen. And so I was like, well, I'm already doing 4 of the rounds for Super Hooligans, so let's just go for it. And did full season Super Sport and Super Hooligans last year, which as a rookie that's never been to all of these racetracks except for 2 of them, was a very daunting task. So we bit off a little more than we could chew on that one, but we successfully made it through, and I basically qualified for all of them except the one. So yeah.
Proper. So
You're doing better than me. All right.
right? Yeah. Shoot, I don't even think I can qualify for all those rounds on the PlayStation. Right. So
You could.
yeah, I know. Yeah. So tell us about your experience at Laguna Seca, right? What a magical place. I was there in 05 when MotoGP first come back. It was surreal, right? It's just one of those tracks you always hear about, you see on TV, and then when you're finally there, you're like I made it at the gates of heaven. I'm going to walk in, right?
And then you try to get out. And there's one way in and one way
out. Yeah, you should have seen
for 5 hours.
Listen,
anyway.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because MotoGP that weekend, we were actually sitting in traffic in Rockstar Energy. That was when I think they first come out. So they pulled up with this semi on the opposite side of the street and opened up the back and started giving everybody
nice.
Energy drinks on the side of the road. Yeah, it was awesome.
Love
of course. And then, you know, about 45 minutes later, thousands of people had to, you know, get out and go to the bathroom.
The next
stuck in line, right? Right. There is no rest stop. That's it. You
Yeah.
guys know getting in there. It's
Yep.
yeah, but it was awesome. It was, and then actually being there and walking up to where the corkscrew is, and you see, you know, the hill. It's
so crazy.
It is. So run us through your experience, Mallory, of
Yeah.
Laguna.
So I think, let's see, like, so yeah, getting there and being there was like magical. It was like, oh, this is like one of these iconic racetracks that everybody talks about. And everybody, like, when you talk to anybody that doesn't even know anything about racing and you say Laguna, they're like, oh my goodness, that place is so cool, you know? Everybody knows about it. It's really legendary. And yeah, being there was kind of surreal for me, of just like, I'm racing at a pro level, you know, at Laguna. And I think I remember, so like I was supposed to do a track walk with JP, and like I can't remember, I was like late for some reason. So then I was like, oh, I'll just go like the reverse track really quick and like meet up to wherever they ended up, you know? So I'm going reverse track, and then I'm trying to like, I'm like bicycling, and I'm like, I get to the corkscrew and I'm like, yeah, that ain't happening. I like get off and I like walk, and I'm like, oh, this is rough, you know? But yeah, the first lap, I went around, and as soon as I went down the corkscrew, I knew it was coming, and I came in, and of course we're going so slow because it's like my first like sighting lap, right? But even then, the transition over to the second part, like you come over and you go like this, and I was like, and I like literally screamed in my head like a little girl. I was just like, oh my god! And I like came in with the biggest smile on my face. It's like, it's just so cool to like experience that for the first time. So
yeah, that's awesome. And then go ahead, Daniel.
That whole section doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like that looks like a run on a downhill skiing thing, right? Like, because I was there for, 1998, I was there for the Monterey Historic Races. right? So you walk up and you're watching, you know, like all these crazy, like, you know, Le Mans winning cars and all this other stuff coming through. And it's like you watch them come through and like the inside front tires off the ground when they're going through the center. And you're just like, and then they drop down and they hang that left. And I'm like, there's no way on God's green earth that I would want to do this in a car. Bike, as much as my brain doesn't work apparently, but like I'd rather do it on a bike than a car because the car's gonna do this shit. And it's like I could be on a bike and it'll just do that. All right, fine. But that the left, what's it called? I can't remember. I don't know if it's got a name or if it's just turn 8 or whatever. When you go through that, sorry, Miyagi wants to say hi. So when you come through that, does it just bottom everything out as you come down there and then transition to the right?
Yeah, so like on the Hyper, it's a little sketchy because I rode the Hyper Motard this year, right? And we had a little bit of clearance issues on the belly pan, so we were scraping. And coming down the corkscrew there, and you're like coming over, and you're just like, and you hear it, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, please don't.
I've done that before. It's like, oh,
she said, I'm sorry. That's a $400 part. I'm sorry.
Oh God, custom made from Italy. Yeah, $800 belly pan.
Facts, right? So a buddy of mine, Martin Adams, he's watching right now. He says it's a dream. He wants to go to Laguna Seca one day. He says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. He's over there in the UK. He actually makes all my merchandise, the Closing Kings. Yeah, he's a
love it.
Proper guy. He really is. But yeah, so listen, Mallory, Laguna, right? To me, turn 1 is the most sketchy corner of the whole track at Laguna, right? Everybody always talks about the corkscrew, but it's actually turn 1 for me because it's fifth gear, fourth gear, whatever bike you're on, blind, left-handed, pinned, wide open, and you can't see where you're going to go because it's a hill. So first time wide open through that, did you close your eyes and was just
it took me a long time to really get wide open. And then even then this year we worked on like my braking into there because it was like, okay, like I had 2 opportunities, right? I rode both bikes, and with the Hyper it was a little easier because it's like you're a little slower, you know, not much, but a little slower. And then I was complaining because I was like, I don't know, like if I stay pinned, my ZX6 like wheelies over it, you know, and then I would feel like I can't get to the brakes. And they were like, listen, you're supposed to be braking after the wheel sits down on your wheelie anyway. So just go for it. And then as soon as the wheel comes back down, then go to the brakes. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate that. I hate all of that. I don't wanna. And there was a moment, Mark Price and I in Super Hooligans last year, we were kind of battling it out through turn 1, and my bike was a little faster and I'm like a little bit lighter, you know, and we're getting there and we're like next to each other, and I'm just like, oh my God. And we're going through and he's starting to like come wide because he's like trying to like cut me off and make me nervous. And it was working. And I'm like, I don't like this. Please stop. And so I just gave it up. I was like, nope, can't. I appreciate it. I'll just try somewhere else. But it was cool.
That's awesome.
Does it feel narrow going out there? Because when my first experience at Road Atlanta, I pulled out of the pits and you're like, again, I'm on an SV. I've got maybe 75 horsepower, maybe. So I'm sitting there going like, God, this feels really narrow. So does it feel narrow coming out into Laguna, or?
I don't think so. Okay. I mean, it feels pretty good.
Okay.
Nice.
I feel like the 2 racetracks I would recommend people to ride is Laguna and like Coda. Like 2 legendary tracks. Like if you have the opportunity to race either or ride either one of those racetracks, like those are by far because Coda is like a proper racetrack, right? Like it's set up for MotoGP, like they can do it there. So it's like the runoff and the areas and the concrete and like all that stuff is just super cool to have. And so like, and it's just such a big facility, you know? So it's, those 2 tracks have probably been the coolest things for me to experience.
Yeah, Coda's proper. I've been to 6 MotoGP races now. Nice. Going back again in April. I go every year with one of my really good friends that lives out in Kansas. I fly to Kansas and we drive down because it's like 5 hours. But yeah, it's awesome. Same thing, right? Turn 1. You get up there at Coda, you see turn 1, you're like, holy shit, because it's like this, right?
Yep.
You're looking at a wall going into turn.
Yeah,
it does. But a lot of people don't realize, unless you catch the drone footage, that actually when you crest that hill and you go left, it actually bottlenecks, right? And then it opens back up. So tell us your experience about Coda.
Yeah, it was Well, Coda this year was not great for me either, as far as like an actual performance standpoint. We had some really good starts. I mean, it was 105-degree weather, and
I was gonna say, how many gallons of water did you guys go
a
through?
Right.
lot. Yeah. So it was 105 degrees, and the Super Sport and Super Hooligans races were back to back. So it was chaos. I would say starts at Coda are crazy, right? Because you have all these people, especially from the back of the grid. So like when you're on the back of the grid, you're like everybody's funneling and everybody's trying to go to the same spot, right? You're all just trying to get into the inside. But then the people around the outside, like some people go around the outside, and then you're like, crap, I should have been out there, because then they're just like, bop, and they go around like 4 people and then just cut them off. And so it's a little interesting to kind of like see that tactic, on that. But yeah, the track itself is really cool, and like I said, the runoff is nice. I wish we could have done a little bit better. We had, like I said, we got really good starts, and then 2 red flag races back to back. So we had my Super Hooligan start on Sunday. We had a really good start. We slotted into like 5th, and I was like, heck yeah, like this is gonna be great. Like, let's go. And 2 laps in, it got red flagged, and then it was a delay and all these things. And then all of a sudden it was a 3-lap restart. And it was like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. Like 3 laps is just chaos, right? You can just tell like 3 laps on the grid just feels like you can just feel everybody going, oh my God, there is not enough time. We need to go, right?
This is about to be really bad.
Yeah.
So
I got a crappier start and wasn't where I wanted to be. And I was behind a guy that I've raced up north a bunch. And I was like, oh, I got to get around this guy. There's not enough time. I just got to get around him. And like, I was going, and then that hyper, like the edge grip on that thing's good, literally until it's not. And there's no warning.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of just like, I just asked for a little bit more, and it just let go. Right. So I've actually got a video from someone at the top of the tower videoing it while it happened. And so he's at the top of the tower videoing down, and then all of a sudden you just see me go. And I'm like,
I wonder if it's on YouTube.
I don't know if it is. No. But I picked my bike up, picked up the bike. I fixed up the race, finished the race. And then, of course, when I come back in, like I was one of the last people to come in, and they had already blown the horn for Super Sport to go. So like they had already opened pit gate for Super Sport to start. So I roll into Parc Fermé. I grab my scooter that one of my pit crew had like left me. I ride my scooter down to my other pit while my other bike's getting run off the table. I hop on my other bike and I go straight out and almost miss the gate.
Oh no.
And I go out there and I'm like, okay, like I gotta chill, like it's fine, like no big deal. Trying to brush off, like I just crashed and I just need to like forget about it.
Right.
So we go out, restart. I'm excited. I'm like, okay, like just breathe, like it's fine. I have a really good start. And I don't remember what position we were in, but really good start. And I'm like stoked. I'm like, oh my gosh, we like gained like 4 or 5 positions. Like this is going to be amazing. Two laps in, it gets red flagged. And I'm like, God dang it. And so then like we come back in, we restart. And I'm just like, again, just trying to gather everything that's happening. And first lap in, I think, or second lap in, I go for a pass on 2 guys into the last turn before the back straight. And I just asked a little bit more of the front tire on the brakes. I was like, it's fine, I'll be okay. And it was tucked the front. It was not okay. So I picked my bike up. I brought it back into the pits. I gave it to my crew. I left my helmet on, left my visor down, and I walked through the pits, and I was just bawling. I was like, it was one of those moments where I was like, this just sucks.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those days, and it was like, I don't know. I was like, I just couldn't get in my focus, and I just made a lot of little mistakes, and that's all it takes, especially when you're running with the fastest guys in the country.
Yeah.
So it was not a good weekend for me, but I loved being there. And like my mom got to see me race for the first time, and like my brother got to come. And of course, I gave my mom a couple heart attacks. But
I bet, right?
We've all, trust me, the amount of heart attacks my mom has had with me on the racetrack. Granted, it's me, so it's probably that adds to it. Like I don't make it difficult for her to have a heart attack, apparently.
Right.
I about high-sided my brains out in front of her because she's a quarter marshal. So she's right there. I come out of the corner and it's a track day. I'm playing with somebody. I'm on an SV. This guy's on an RC51, so I'm playing with him. I roll in it as hard as I can in this thing, full opposite lock. I'm flying W, right? And I'm
flying W.
Laying back on the seat. I'm like, all right, cool. They red flagged the session because 2 guys get together on another section of the track.
And then
I'm honking the horn at her, going, "Sorry, Mom." She's like, "I'm gonna beat you."
Oh, it was so bad. Like it was just like it was so cool because they got to be up in like the front straight in the suite, and they were we had a buddy, Jordan Eubanks, who let us stay in his suite, and so they got to sit outside on the front straight. And I
Nice.
got to be on the grid, my mom and her wife and my little brother are on the wall, in the stands going, "Whoa, Mallory!" like screaming at the top of
That's
their lungs.
awesome.
And I can hear them when I'm on the grid, like waiting for the race to start. I'm like kind of embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is
Don't you
embarrassing."
dare be embarrassed sitting on that grid.
No. How did
But
you
it was
handle the extra nerves?
You don't really think I didn't really think about it when I was riding. I thought about it after I crashed, and but I was like, I got back up and kept going, and my mom was okay. But it was because like I didn't get to talk to my mom between the two races and the two crashes, right? And I was kind of
Right.
hoping my mom just didn't know, like if maybe she like hadn't seen it or something. And we came back in from Super Sport. I like left my bike and I just like walked into the pits and had a little moment. I went Melissa Paris and I call it, the cry castle. I went into the
Right.
trailer and I cried in
Yeah.
peace. And my mom came out after I kind of like settled down a bit and she looks at me and you could just see her eyes like starting to well up with tears. And I like just come over and give her a hug and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're okay." And I was just like, "Sorry, Mom. I didn't mean it." Yeah.
Yeah. If
Oh,
I
God.
raced, my mom would definitely not go. She'd be like,
Yeah.
"Hell no, I ain't going. Absolutely not." Right? She
My
don't
dad doesn't really like it. He wants me to race cars. And so,
boring.
stick
he's
with
like
twos.
he'll come to Motoamerica and like it's so funny because he came out, he's like he's my number one fan, right? Like amazing.
Of
But he
course.
comes out and he comes over after he watches the Superbike guys go down the front straight and like break at the bridge, and they're going, however fast they're going. And he comes to the pits and he goes, "So those guys are breaking like at the bridge or after the bridge." He's like, "And you're breaking like before, way over there." And I'm like, ouch, Dad. Okay, I know we're working on it.
You're like, "Thanks, Dad."
He's like, "You need to go, just be better."
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Just break
Dad,
deeper.
This
Yeah,
is what
okay.
I'm going to tell you. Go look at their brake calipers and
Yeah.
come look at mine.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Facts.
You
Yeah,
know
it
cars.
was
Go look at
funny.
their stuff.
He's like, "Quit making excuses. Ride more like Top Rack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. We're like
okay.
Top Rack.
Ride more like Top Rack, and you'll be okay." Yeah, that's
it'll all be
awesome.
okay. What's up, Stephanie?
Yeah,
Speaking of number one fans.
Stephanie.
Yo.
What's happening? Do you wear, because sometimes you'll see like the MotoGP guys and some of the Superbike guys that have that cooling vest on, so at like really hot places. Did you actually wear one of those
I
at
did not.
Coda?
No.
No.
No, we had some cooling towels that one of my friends let me like borrow and use, and it was like you just throw that in the cooler, with all the ice and whatnot, and then you take it out and you hope that. Honestly, like the heat itself didn't really bother me too much. Like as far as like a performance standpoint, I just ran out of talent.
I hear you, right? Listen, I'd have been looking forward to the tacos. I'd be like, I can't wait till this is over so we can go eat some good
Torchies.
tacos.
I was like, I need a
Torchies,
margarita now,
tacos.
please. I'm done
Right.
racing.
Yep.
Marks.
Yep. Extra margarita, extra shot. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Thank
You would not believe the kind of day that I had. And they'll be like, what?
Right. Well, check this out. In front of my mom, I done crashed twice. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's been the worst day ever.
Yep.
Make that 3 shots. Thank you.
Yeah. And can someone else buy it for me? Because I'm broke and I got no money.
Right. Yeah. Because I spent it all on these race tires. You guys don't come here. Let me tell
and
you
all the parts
about it.
I got fixed.
The fairings and this
Mhm.
belly pan. Let me tell you about this belly
Yeah, this
pan.
damn Ducati belly fan.
Bro, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
5 shots. Come here.
They'll be like,
coming.
say no more. You said Ducati, say no more.
You need a good fiberglass guy. I've got somebody for you.
Can he
Yeah.
travel? He'll just be there like on call, just like ready to go.
Oh, yeah. No, it's Chris Parrish. Just talk to him.
Oh, yeah.
Trevor's
He's
got a
got
good
lots of
idea.
experience.
He says he freezes his
Yes,
chest
that's
protector.
amazing.
Yeah.
But then don't you like, does it bother you because it like doesn't bend right?
Nope.
Because like I feel like mine doesn't, like if it's frozen, it'll be like really stiff.
It once because Trevor's the head guy of my racing crew. He showed me that. I put it on and it loosened up after about 15 seconds.
Okay.
So literally
Interesting.
it goes, it'll start because it's frozen. Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't fold immediately. It still folds.
Got it.
But once it gets to the point where it's there, you're golden. It's amazing. Like
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
don't wear a chest protector, so
Oh well, there's
I only
that.
wear a back protector.
Put that in the freezer.
Yeah.
Put the back protector in the freezer. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look who it is, my man Northeast Jules.
Jules, what's up?
What is
dude?
up, baby? He says, "Peep the gas shirt."
Gas,
Yeah. I got my
Gas.
gas shirt on when I went to Coda. I went by there. I actually bought a pair of shorts and the shirt, man, because they're cool, right? I mean, I'm a fan. I'm such a fan, Mallory. Obviously, look at my room. I mean, you could tell my room, right? You see
There's
all
a
the
lot of things in your
posters
room
and
happening there.
it's yeah. I mean, I got my buddy Jake Marsh, BSB. He rides in the GP2 class, and then I got my man Cameron Fraser right here. He actually won the GP2 title. I got that tank shroud is actually Alex Marquez's Martin VDS Moto 2 tank shroud that I got signed. Wow. And then, of course, our friend Eli Block. You see his leathers hanging up in the background right here.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it was funny because real quick at Jersey, so I met Isaac Woodworth and all the Junior Cup guys I had on the podcast previously, right? And we had this inside running joke, me and Isaac, like, who's my favorite rider, right? Because I'm friends with all of them, right? So they're trying to get me to come up with one. So Eli gave me his leather suit, signed it, so I ran straight over to Isaac and I threw it down right in front of him. I said, "Eli's my favorite," right? And dude, the look on his face, he's like, "Oh, okay." So at the end of the weekend, he gave me his I haven't hung it up yet, but that's his belly pan off his Ninja 400, and he signed it for me. So before I left, I gave him a big hug and I whispered in his ear, "You're my number one now." And we just laughed. It's hilarious. It's just a little inside joke we all got. It's
awesome. My belly pan's worth a little bit more money. So if I give you a signed belly pan, does that mean I'm your number one?
Absolutely, 110%, Mallory.
But hang on, wait, stop. Are you going to actually give him a belly pan off of that? Because as expensive as that shit is.
Well, it's not really my belly pan to give, but
right.
I don't own the motorcycle.
There you go.
Yeah, look, Northeast said Rossi Moore, it's okay, record. Jules, my man. Yeah, that's awesome. So Mallory, tell us about your racing the Ducati experience. What was that like?
I want to hear all about Super Hooligans. I want to hear all about it.
I love Super Hooligans. It's such I think it's such a great class.
I think it's great for a lot of reasons, and there are some reasons that I don't love. My Super Hooligans experience started with me crashing on the second lap of practice in someone else's oil. So the guy had never put on his oil fill cap on a Harley, right? And those things are huge. It's like this big. And it's on the top, right? And so he was like on his first lap or whatever. And he comes through, he goes on the first part of the banking, and then he comes down to go into the chicane, and he tips in and just instantly crashes. And then in the replay, when you watch Motoamerica replay, it's like puking oil on the track as it's like spinning. So basically, he didn't have the cap, and he was going on the banking, and it was just spewing oil out on the right-hand side of him, like all over him. And then as soon as he went to tip into the chicane, it was just like, yep. So then someone else crashed in it before I did. And then you see a couple other people like bobble because they hit it, And then I was a little wide because I've never been there, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure it out, right? Second lap. And I go, whoop, and both tires just go. And I get up and I'm yelling at the corner worker. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, because there was all these bikes down. Like, they should have red flagged it before that even happened, right? And I'm mad because I'm just like, this is my brand new motorcycle. Like, I have this support and this sponsor that I have to call now to say, hi, hey, so you spent, 10 days rushing to build this motorcycle because, well, let's back up a little bit. It's from Canada. And because the dealership that supports me, Ducati Richmond, is from Canada. So to import the motorcycle was a fiasco. So it took months. I was supposed to pick it up around Christmas, and I tried to go across the border, and they said, no, you can't do that because it's not yours, XYZ. You have to import it. So then the dealership tried to go through this whole process to do it, and it took months. We didn't get the bike until 10 days before Daytona, before it had to leave for Daytona. So we built a race bike. CW Moto built the race bike in literally less than a week, which is a miracle on itself. So we get there, and then that happens, right? I crashed in this guy's oil in the second lap. And the guy tried to say, like, well, the cap fell off after the fact. We're sitting on the crash trailer, and I'm not an angry person. So luckily for this guy, like, I didn't really think about it until after the fact. But he tried to tell me that the oil fill cap fell off after he crashed. And I was like, but looking at his leathers, he's drenched in oil. And I'm like, there's no way. Yeah. So we bring it back, and I had to my case cover came off. And so I'm like telling the corner worker to grab my case covers. I'm like, yeah, that's like $400. I need that. Give me that back. Yeah. So I'm grabbing my parts, and I'm grumpy, and we're fixing the bike, and we got it all back together and stuff. We had another set of bars. I broke a bar, because the thing about the hypers and stuff is once you crash on those things, the first thing that really hits the ground is the bars. And on those stock bars, they just snap. And so it was basically as soon as that thing hit the ground, it just snapped a bar. So we rebuilt it and went back out, and we did pretty good. I mean, we'd never been to Daytona, and we didn't really have any time to develop a race bike, right? Like we had done a few things here and there, but there wasn't a lot. And so, and then we ended up crashing in the second race, just because the forks weren't quite what we needed to do to perform. Like I was behind Mesa and like one other guy, can't remember the other guy's name. And like I was behind Mesa and I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God, I'm
right.
behind Mesa. Like this is cool, you know? And like one of those moments of like, this is happening. And we were coming through one of the horseshoes and really the front just kind of felt vague and it started to like push and it just went, tucked the front. And so we rebuilt the forks and stuff and really developed that throughout the season. And the bike that we had, you know, by the end of the season at Coda was night and day better than what we had at the beginning of the season. So I'm like kind of bummed we may or may not be doing Super Hooligans this year.
Boo!
That's what Boom!
Because it'd be a much better program. I mean, there's all the racing and I want to do all of it, but I got to prioritize some things, you know?
Oh, I'm not like trust me, I'm only going boo just from the sheer fact that I want to watch everybody do hooligans because
Yeah.
it's like it's for me it's Twins Cup and Super Hooligans. That's what I'm
Right.
into because
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo. But yeah, it's like because the Super Hooligans class to me, just I look at it and I go, that looks like way too much fun. You don't have to spend an absolute ton of money to be on the grid. Like I'm sitting there looking at like first generation Aprilia Tuanos on the back of the grid.
Yeah.
Like
And
SV thousands from 04. I'm like,
it's a
what
little
are you doing?
sketchy to be, you know, like when there's like 50 people on, like, I mean, they had to split it, right? The season, 'cause there's so many people. And like, you come up on some of those people and you're like, oh boy, like,
you've never been on a racetrack, have you?
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's like,
right? Like some of them are like basically like, hey, this is my first race I've ever been to. I've been doing track days here forever. And you're just like, I don't think that's okay.
That's not safe. Like,
And so, I mean,
would
like
say at least have a. Go ahead, sorry.
You look at all the like red flags and stuff that happened this season from just some people that, you know, it's like it's a lot of pressure to do that. And, you know, me included, like their crashing happens, but you know, that's a lot of people to get out there on the grid to do that. So
yeah.
Hashtag hyper murder.
Hyper murder. Yeah. And then
that's what we call the hyper murder.
That's
hyper
awesome.
murder.
And then Britt, man, what is going on, Britt? He's a good buddy.
From Minnesota.
Yeah, from Minnesota. He's a big Viking fan.
Sucks to be him right now.
But, I mean, I don't really watch. I'm a Raider fan, so, but I don't really.
It's really bad for you.
Yeah, right. So, but listen.
I'm really a big football fan, but
yeah, I'm not. Well, soccer. Yes, I'm a big soccer fan. As far as it's football, every once in a while I will watch it. I just like Raiders because of Bo Jackson. I grew up in the Bo Jackson era, right? So that was my guy back in the day. You know, he played Kansas City. I mean, yeah, the Royals and the Oakland Raiders. So, but yeah, it was fun. So, no Super Hooligans. My buddy Hawk Mazzato actually won that air cooled. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm really bummed. I mean, like, so we finished 7th at the Ridge, which was my first like top 10. I think I actually got 10th and then 7th. And then so that was pretty cool to be like, okay, like we're getting up there, you know. And I think we really could have we did 7th in the first race, I think, at Coda, or at Laguna. I know it was 10th at the first race and then 7th in the second race. We crashed at Laguna and I made a bonehead pass in like the first lap and crashed, but then it got red flagged. So then I got to restart and my bars were all bent. And like, I was just like, it's fine. Just salvage some points. You know, I think we still got like 10th or 11th. Cause we didn't have time to fix it, you know? And, so it was just like a little bit of like, we did a lot of R&D, you know, on the fly and some of that turned out better than others, but we would have finished if I just finished the race where I originally in that first restart or that first start of Coda, we would have finished 7th overall instead of 10th. So it was like kind of a bummer, but yeah, I mean, Super Hooligans was a lot of fun. It was really cool to kind of like build the confidence and be like, I'm, you know, top 10, you know, like I'm meant to be here. Cause I struggle a lot with like the imposter syndrome of people doubting me, people like me doubting myself and, you know, me belonging there kind of deal. And so it was really cool to kind of solidify that with the Super Hooligan stuff. You know, battle it out with some good racers. So it was cool. And yeah, so next year, I mean, like we can get into that a little bit, but I've got some plans brewing for next year and, you know, a lot of irons in the fire, right? We never really know until the concrete dries. Yeah. It's totally like kind of last minute. But the FIM posted the Women's World Championship for next year. So they're doing 6 rounds with World Superbike on R7s.
Yep.
And so it's cheaper than Motoamerica, which is crazy because it's like a spec class. So
I
it's
know.
25,000 euro. Yeah,
Motoamerica. Did you just not hear what Mallory Dobbs just said? I know somebody's listening or gonna listen. Mallory, I wish I had a rewind button right now. I would just so hit it, right? Yes. She said
right
the women's class in the FIM. Go ahead, Daniel.
Stock R7, you're gonna get front end chatter.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
It's gonna go.
I've already heard. Yeah, I've already heard that they're not wonderful.
They're okay. They're not great. They're okay. Like you're gonna get front end chatter. You're gonna the corner speed is all I can tell you.
I sent in my application for that. They're picking 22 girls with 2 wild cards. And so I won't know until February on that, which means I got to kind of put together some other plans also in the meantime, because if that doesn't work out for whatever reason, I got to figure out something else. So, I think that's what I want to do for next year. Yeah. So, I mean, it's 25,000 euro for 6 rounds, bike, fuel, tires, race entry fees, all included. So the only thing you have to
crazy expensive when you think about it.
Right. For 6 rounds.
That's not that
bad. That's what I'm saying. Motoamerica again. Hello. We need that here.
So, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it's like all over Europe, you know, and I've never traveled the world. I've never been to Europe. I get to go on racetracks with like World Superbike, you know, like, so I don't really know, like there's a lot of unknowns about the program since it's their first year and they're trying to figure it out and all that stuff. So, you know, I'm hopeful, but at the same time, it's like, well, if it didn't work out, I could do more stuff at Motoamerica still. But I mean, I spent way too much of my own money this season to do Motoamerica Supersport. So I'm sitting at a little bit, not as good of a situation as I was the start of last season to do a full season again. So, I was really hoping that like me getting out there and doing the Motoamerica thing would kind of get me a little bit of a name for myself, you know, around there and try to get some more support. And I still think that that's feasible, but you know, we're all just trying to do the same thing. And so many people are trying to find funding and support and, you know, all the industry stuff is kind of spoken for. There's not a lot of money floating around. Bike sales are down for dealerships this year. Like, you know, that kind of stuff just really impacts all of us. So, really it's like, well, I think going to World Superbike for a year and going to do that, you know, versus doing the full season at Motoamerica, it won't necessarily help my career necessarily, but it might, you know, like get me some more publicity and more media content. And
I don't see where it would hurt.
No, it won't hurt. If anything, it's just gonna, you know,
hype you up.
Yeah. So that's kind of the priority right now, is to do that. And then really I'm putting together a program to do the 200. So we're going to try to do that on my ZX6. And then, trying to put together a program to at least have all my stuff, travel the country. So if I have the money and the time and the energy to do more Motoamerica rounds, I can throughout the season. So the European thing really only directly conflicts with Laguna and Brainerd. Dang it, Brainerd.
Yeah, right.
Really bummed about that one.
Yeah, man.
I'll say this. The only part that I would miss, because I enjoy the fast corners and everything else. 1 and 2 looked like a lot of fun. The rest of the track looks not fun.
It's not great. I didn't love it. I'm normally really good on like, I have really good like rear tire feel and can really like get like out of corners really good. I'm just not I was good on the brakes and with the front end. And at that racetrack, I have never been so close to having as many high sides as I did at that racetrack.
Oh, is it that slick? Okay.
It's just like, it'll be fine. And then all of a sudden it's like, nope, you're not fine. And you're like, what just happened? Like, I don't understand. Like, so it's not my favorite.
Yeah. But that women's championship, that's, when I first heard about it, I was like, this is awesome. You know, maybe Motoamerica should do something like that. Again, are you listening? 25,000 euros, 6 races, bikes and everything included. But do you supply your own helmet and your own riding gear, Mallory?
Yep. Right. All your own gear, all your, like, they want you to bring crew members still. So like I still have to bring crew and then pay for the logistics of getting there and staying. So, I mean, it's still going to be another 25, 30 grand, maybe, you know, in logistics and costs of that. But, and then you have to buy like crash parts if you crash everything and whatnot. But it's one of those things, like, I don't love the idea. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't love the idea of a women's championship. I don't necessarily feel like it's I don't feel like it's necessary, because I've made it this far just working my butt off to be not a fast girl, but just fast. Like I don't want that designation. And so it's not my favorite to be like, oh, we're doing a women's championship, because it's not really necessary. But
Yeah.
that's not to say that I'm not going to capitalize on this opportunity because I am a female and I wouldn't get to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
So like I think there's going to be some ringers that go. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to go over there and kick butt. Like, there's going to be girls that come from Europe over there that race those tracks all the time, and that is what it is. I want to do well, of course, because I'm a racer that's worked this hard to get where I am. But yeah, it's not necessarily what I think is good for I think it's good for the sport in some ways and bad for it in others.
Yeah.
Just
I
kind of
do
like
too.
BCR, right?
Well, I mean, I do too, because I see like, man, this is gonna sound so bad. And I don't want it to sound this way. It's like it's
always
almost
hard.
like they go full retard, right? They say never go full retard, but no, it's almost like they put women in a certain bubble, right, with the spec only class, where maybe it would be harder for you guys to actually get in with the guys again and race with them versus just, I'm fast as everybody else, so
Yeah.
let's do it,
And that's kind of the thing, right? Is like, you look at like people like, me and like Kayla Yakov, and like, we're just trying to do the thing to do better in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, we're not sitting here going, oh my goodness, we just want to be a fast for a girl. Like, we will want to kick everybody's butt. Like, everybody's the same. And it's something like we all struggle with, right? Like, if we get it, I don't want to get into like feminism and equality and everything like that. Like, it's fine. I just think that, I struggle a lot with my dating life, and really finding someone that was comfortable with me being a strong, independent person. And also feeling like I get handouts, and I've been told multiple times of like, it must be nice to be a female because you get XYZ. Yeah. And if you ever want to piss me off, if you ever want to get under my skin, you just say, must be nice. Or like, I wish I could get that, like XYZ. Yeah. And it's like, you don't see all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. And, all we're doing, like Patricia, works her butt off. And like, she's doing the thing just like we all are. And Melissa, and like all of us have had to break through those barriers to like get there. And, it's that much harder. It's not easier. Like, yeah, maybe we get some more opportunities that some other people don't, but that's also because we also get a lot harder in other areas, Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's fun. It'll be cool. I'm hoping that people are supportive of me and doing it, and knowing who I am as a person, because I feel like I've really built a fan base on being a genuine person that's doing the thing. Yeah.
You got two of them right here. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I want to continue that and just kind of keep motivating other people to do the same. I talk like Stephanie is one of them. I coach her at local track days around here, and really even just kind of motivate her to keep pushing herself, because there is that it's really hard to keep going sometimes when it gets hard. And that's why I share a lot of my journey and like anything behind the scenes, or the trials and tribulations along the way, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies and all that jazz. And I don't know, it brings me joy to like see little girls run up to me, give me a hug at a Motoamerica round, and they're like, sign my shirt and we love you. And I'm just like, my heart, so I just love that aspect of racing, and I want to keep doing that. And so, obviously I want to have some my own experiences as well, but really that's something that I really enjoy. And I think Motoamerica needs to kind of like find more people that want to do it that way, because that's what keeps people interested in the sport and gets more fans and people involved. Like, sure, we like to see fast guys go fast, but if they're jerks to the fans, like, you don't have anybody that wants to come do that.
No, it's just like one of those things you always hear. You don't never want to meet one of your favorite riders, right? Because you'll be like, man, I told this story before, but real quick, Stoner. I was a huge fan of Skate. Of course, Valentino is my number one fan, but Stoner, who didn't like Stoner, right? I don't care if him and Valentino hated each other. You could not. Stoner was a different breed than anybody. But anyway, Mallory, I ended up meeting Stoner. Finally, I was like, yes, I get to go meet Stoner. I said, I'm a fan. Can you sign my poster? He said no, and turned around and walked away. And I was like,
oh my God,
fucking kidding me right now, right? So my brother, his girlfriend was there at the time, so I gave her the poster. She walked right over there and was like, hey, will you sign this for me? He's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, wow, fucking kidding me, right?
Wow, like, that's rough.
It is, right? So I understand it. I feel like and Mallory, it's hard, especially when you have those days where they're really rough, right? Mm-hmm. You go and you little crier and you cry and you get all these negative feelings and things ain't going your way, right? And then you get all these little kids running up to you, or just even adults too, right? And they want pictures and autographs. You still got to put out that positive energy from deep within somewhere and smile and no problem. Yeah.
I met one of my fans that has been following me on Instagram for a while at New Jersey. And
Nice.
I was in tech crying about the whole situation that happened in New Jersey. And she came up and she was like, now it's probably not a good time. I'm so sorry. She's like, I just really wanted to say, like, I've been trying to meet you and I haven't had a good time to come over. And I'm like, I'm so sorry that I'm in this moment right now. I like didn't. And then so we took a picture and I was like, hold on, let me like get my face so it's not like red, like I'm crying, you know? And she was, she was just like, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And like all these things. But yeah, I was like, I was trying not to be that person. But at the
Yeah.
time, it was just like so much to deal with. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I mean, you always got to put that face on you when you're frustrated. And it's, you
Yeah.
know, part of a talent that you have to have when you're a racer, right? Like,
Absolutely. But it also made you feel a little bit better too in that moment when the
yeah,
fan was like, "Oh, I'm
yeah,
such fan." And you kind of, you know, I'm sure as soon as she said her name, you recognized her or
mhm,
from Instagram or pictures, right? So
yep,
it's still like,
yep. Yeah, it's super cool. And it's like I get so humbled and I say it all the time and on my posts and everything. I'm so humbled by the amount of people that help me because I couldn't
yeah,
do it alone.
right,
And the people that support me and send me messages that say like you really motivate me to do XYZ and you know, I really appreciate you sharing the journey. And those are kind of the things that keep me motivated on those days when I'm like, do I really want to keep doing this? Like why am I spending thousands of dollars just to throw myself on the ground? Like I could do it
right,
for way cheaper doing something else. Like
I
so
do that in my backyard, just tripping. Like, what are we doing
yeah.
here?
right,
Yeah, so I mean, like I showed horses a lot when I was a kid, and so like at the competitive, like at national level as well, and you know I fell on the ground plenty of times, but at least it didn't cost me a shit ton of money when I did it. I normally was just really angry.
right.
So, but yeah, it's it. I mean, we all go through a lot of things, and it
Yeah,
is what it is.
it
But
is. No,
I
you're
love it.
right. I man, listen, we all love the sport. We do. So let me ask you this, Mallory. How do you get in your zone and prepare yourself for a race? Like, do you have any rituals? Like some people got lucky, some men got lucky underwear and socks and all that cool stuff, right? So look at Daniel's like,
Yeah.
So is there anything in particular that you do, like certain type of music or whatever?
I've tried a little bit of everything. I've been told sometimes that I don't take racing very seriously by a person in my life, and I'm one of those people that's like I'm an extrovert. Clearly, I love to talk to people, and so like if I don't like if I try to get like super serious and like in the zone beforehand and like don't talk to anybody and like quiet, I almost like psych myself out more. And so it's almost better for me just to like hang out with everybody and be like bullshitting until we like go out to go, you know? I'm like, all right, cool, thanks guys, like love it, let's go. Like, I don't really have any like process. I've tried listening to like some Five Finger Death Punch, you know, like trying to get like some really like angry
Right, right.
vibes going. I'm not really much of an not really much of an angry racer either. Like, I really race best when I'm just in that like flow state of just like not doubting myself and turning my brain off. And that's, I mean, a lot of people are like that, right?
Yeah.
But how do I get there? And so I've worked a lot with my performance coach, Ethan, about just how to get into that flow state and try to get those situations going. But I'm not really much of a process person. So like it's more or less like I have my process in the morning of like drink a bottle of water, get my coffee, chill out for a little bit, you know, maybe stretch if I'm a little sore, and then get ready to go out and just try to
Have
hammer
fun.
down, you know?
That's it. That's awesome. Yeah, and some riders do got crazier rituals what they
Yeah.
do, right? Like they gotta listen to a certain song,
Mhm.
and not
Put
even
on
the
their
whole
gloves
song.
in a certain like
Yeah, and all
Look,
this,
way,
if
and
you
they're
need
and they gotta
music to
be
get
laid
yourself,
out. It's like,
you need music to get yourself hyped up when you're on the grid, you're doing the wrong thing.
yeah.
Sorry. Like
yeah,
if you're on the sitting on the grid and you need whatever to get psyched up and ready to go, you might be doing the wrong thing because you're sitting on a grid anywhere from 55, 65 horsepower to 230,
Yeah.
and you're about to go do something really dumb, but it's really fun, and you have to get hyped up for that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
No,
like trying to chill, you know? Like
yeah, no,
I got like a really good video. Like my buddy did like a walk around on my very first Motoamerica grid. He did a walk around with video, and like you see me and like someone said something and I'm like laughing, and then the next moment I'm like I'm like ha ha ha, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden my face goes blank and I'm just like
yep.
breathing and I'm just like that was me because I was like trying to not panic, trying to be fine, and then like literally I'm just like oh it's fine, but yeah, I mean, literally, I'm like, it's like it was just a moment. Like the first time I was ever on the Motoamerica grid, it was kind of surreal to be like, I'm doing this thing, you know, and I'm here with these crazy people, you know, these legends. Like, so
Yeah.
facts. And every single one of them are legends. Look, check this out. Check out what I learned I could do. Can you guys see this?
What are we watching here?
Hold
Like,
on, hold on.
We're watching an
that
ad.
might be Mallory. Hang on.
I know.
That's an ad,
Hang on.
obviously.
Hang on. Let me
Skip this ad. What are we doing?
Look at that. Oh, that GoPro
look at this.
lens.
This is Mallory
That
Dobbs'
poor
first
GoPro
600
lens.
race class win.
First 600 race
Yup.
win.
Oh, girl.
That's
What do
CBMA.
you
Yeah.
like? Are you on the
Ain't
next
this
Declan-
pretty
right
cool?
now?
We could do this on the podcast.
Yeah, this is sweet.
Are
So
you
this
on the-
race,
this is cool.
Declan Van Rossmelen, I can't
Mhm.
say his last name. DVR. He also races Motoamerica. He
Yeah.
went to turn around to look back to see if I was still there as I was passing him, and he got head shake as he turned around, and then he went off the end of the track on like the second to last lap.
He got wadded up at Barber during the
Yeah,
the
he
li-
lawn darted
like,
himself
bad.
pretty good.
Yeah, it was bad. He's
Yep.
got a great rig though. Like I saw
Oh
him at
yeah,
Grand National Finals 2
yeah.
years
I
ago.
think if you look at, let's see if we can actually, someone might have timestamped it in the comments.
Hang on, let me find.
There he goes, right there. Yep, that was
Did
it.
you see it?
Yeah, we'll go back like a couple seconds.
Yep. Hang on. Let me go back.
Yeah. So I line up a pass here, and he like.
Oh God, that snapped on him quick too.
And then I kind of
Yeah,
ran him
it
wide, and he got scared and didn't tip in, and then he never came back. That was
Oh,
it.
hey,
He ran
well,
off
you know,
track.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, I was
She
like,
said,
"Dude, I
"I'm
don't
getting
know."
you back for turn 1 at Laguna."
Yeah. Oh, Declan. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that was my first race win. So, and
Is
I almost
that
won.
the-
I almost won the championship this season, the 600, the Super Sport middleweight championship,
There you go.
and lost it in the last round and finished third because I had to take my bike back home to get it ready for Motoamerica. So I borrowed a bike, and it was a double points round, and I just couldn't quite get it to work out, and so wasn't meant to be. But it was cool. I was leading the championship the whole season.
That's awesome.
That is. That's good stuff. Yeah, because I was actually messing around because Jules did it one time when we was doing a podcast. I was like, "Man, how you doing that?" He's like, "Do you got to go to share screen, pull up YouTube, and do all this?" So last night I made sure that
Love
I
it.
knew how to do it because I wanted to pull it up. I was like, you know what? I got Mallory's first 600 win right here. I gotta
That's
play it.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's cool. Yeah, and I mean,
this is
like
awesome.
even watching this video, I'm like watching my lines, like how good are they? I'm like, could improve.
Oh yeah, we're all doing it. I'm like, okay, that works. That works.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
I messed
All right.
that up.
Not like I'm going to be able to tell you anything different. It's like, what are we doing? Like, okay, Chuck Waller. I know what it is. I don't
Yeah.
know the
Yeah,
fact.
this place and I have a love-hate relationship.
Oh,
So
yeah.
after I won my first races, or at least I won one of them over the weekend, I crashed one of the other one, and I obliterated my bike. Subframe, wheels, forks, like tank,
no.
everything. Like it tumbled. And I had to rebuild it the next round. And I spent all day Thursday rebuilding the thing. I did like a little rebuild video for a part of it. And I rebuilt the whole thing, and I raced it, the weekend. And I was leading a race in front of Owen Williams. We were battling it out the whole race. And on the last lap, like 5 turns to go, I lost the rear in the top of the slide. It's like kind of this downhill thing. And I crashed again. And I was just like so beat. I was just like, I would have loved to have won a race and come back, like win a race, crash the bike, win another race, And I was so bummed. And like, it was just like, I was a little defeated. I was like, do I really need to be doing this? Like, I feel like maybe I just shouldn't be. And like, the bike was fine on that one. Like, I barely, I hung on to it forever. Like, I was crashing, and I'm like, I think I'm on the ground. Like, but I'm still hanging on to it. Like,
What's going
no,
on?
he will not flip. I refuse.
Do not tumble this time. Quit it.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have more parts. Please, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's racing, though.
That's-
I had
yeah.
one of those like last
It
year. I
is.
think it was at the end of last year when I came back, I think in the second crash, and I was upset, and like I literally told Butters, one of our guys, I walked in the garage and I said, I'm done racing. I like threw my stuff down, and he was like, chill, like you're fine, the bike's fine, don't be so dramatic. And I was just pissed, and I like came to JP, and I was like, Jay, I'm not made for this, I'm not cut out, like I just don't think I can do this. And he was like, I've been there, like we've all been there, we've gone through these moments, like you just got to regroup, give yourself some time. And I was like, I just don't know, like I'm tired of working on my bike, I'm tired of crashing it, like. And so, I mean, obviously I didn't quit because I'm still here. So I managed
We
to
appreciate you not quitting.
I somehow
100%.
managed to keep going. But yeah, I mean, like there's multiple times throughout all sorts of things that I'm just like, man, maybe I'm not cut out for this, And like it's hard when you're spending your own money and all this stuff. Like, I mean, I work a full-time job as a civil engineer, and I'm taking time off. My work's letting me do it and all this stuff. And it's like, how do I how do I manage all that and do this racing stuff? And like, if I don't do very well, like sit with myself with that, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a lot to juggle. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that even though they see Mallory Dobbs on TV or they'll go to the races and they see you under this tent, this professional team and all this, right? They don't see the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, you know, all that stuff that goes into it. It's a lot.
yep.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's like my mom always says it takes a village to raise a kid, but same thing goes with a racer. It takes a village to raise one racer, right? Because
Yep.
you got to have so much support from all different angles, especially in angles you never even thought of until you start doing it. And you're like, oh
Yep.
shit, why didn't I even think
Yep.
of that? Right.
It was wild. Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked the full-time job. I tried to manage like getting sponsorship and managing funds and booking lodging and logistics for everybody. Like, you know, getting an Airbnb, getting the flights for all my team members, like making sure we had food and like everybody's got their credentials and like managing all of that and all the money and all these things. And then, yeah. And then go there and like, okay, I'm working remote today because I'm traveling, but I'm supposed to also be riding tomorrow. And like, getting the mindset of like I'm supposed to be riding, but also I'm still on the clock. And then like, okay, but you know, my team needs me and this, that, and the other, and like doing all of that just to be there, you know, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like if I'm not enjoying this, why am I doing this?
Right. No, I mean, yeah, 100% facts. So I want to get away from the motorcycles. I want to get to know Mallory on away when everything's put up, right? So favorite movie, Mallory?
Favorite movie? I have probably two. One that's a kids movie because I'm a Disney nut. I still love kids
Me
movies,
too.
and one that's not. So, National Treasure was one of
Nice.
my favorite movies. Probably still is. And then Despicable Me is like one of my.
I love that movie. Those are such good movies, all of
It's
them.
so good.
Yes.
Yeah,
You've
all the
seen the
Despicable Me's are just so
Yes,
good. They
they
just
are.
you've
crack
seen
me
the
up.
TikTok where the guy gets like 150 people together and they all
The
dress up
Minions.
as minions.
Yeah.
Oh, they
I
ruined his
love
brother's
that.
date. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I have to find that at least once
So
every 2 or
good.
3 months just so I can
So
laugh at it
good.
again. It's
Yeah,
so
that's
good.
awesome. It is.
Oh,
It is. I'm a big Disney guy too. Me and my
Yep.
son would go in there. We watch all of them. Every
Yep.
single one of them. Disney, it's on. Let's watch it. Right.
Right?
It's
Yeah, it's like it's
really
weird.
good.
It's weird for me because like I don't have kids, so like like my mom and I watched a lot of Disney, and like my mom's still a cartoon nut. Like we used to watch Scooby Doo in the mornings, you know, on Saturday morning cartoons, and you know, we like just loved that. And then like now as an adult, where like I don't have kids, but I still want to watch Disney stuff, and I'm like, I'm just a kid at heart. It's fine.
it's all
It
good.
is. It
Disney
is.
owns all of the cool adult stuff too, so who
Yeah,
cares?
that's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
it's like
Yeah, that's absolute. So Netflix series. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
I'm watching. Well, I'm not really watching anything on Netflix at the moment, but on
pick a
Hulu, I'm
streaming service.
watching.
Yeah,
Yeah, but on
Hulu. Yeah.
Hulu, I'm watching The Good Doctor, which is
Nice.
pretty good. I watched a couple episodes on at one of my flights because they had like 3 of them, and I was like, "Ooh, this is really good." And so then I've been watching that. So I've been binge watching that show.
Yeah, I just got done with Ted Lasso on Apple TV, which was really
Mm.
good. Yeah,
I
that's a
heard that
really
was
good
good.
series. It is. It
So
really
good.
is. It's
So good.
my dude is Roy Kent. That's my dude in that show, man. He's awesome. Yeah, you have to check it out for real.
All right,
It's
I'll
real
make
good.
sure to check it out.
Books. I'm a big book guy. I like to audio books. I'm not a big book reader unless it's a motorcycle magazine, right? I mean, that's just a fact. Or a race program.
Yeah.
But I just got done listening to Randy Lanier. He was an IndyCar driver, but he smuggled drugs. And that's
wow.
how he funded his racing.
Wait,
Yeah, Mallory, dude, it's
no.
it's an epic story. It really is.
I love that.
This guy showed up at Le Mans for the 24-hour in like 79, right? Something like that. He's a reserve. Him and his brothers are reserve drivers. And the Porsche is like, no, you're not going to get to drive this, that, and the other thing. So they look at the Porsche and they go, how much for the car? 250 grand. Be right back. Walks up, throws a briefcase on the hood, and Porsche takes it, walks off. They go and get like second or third in the race.
Yep.
It's
wild.
It's a
That's
great
wild.
book. It is.
It's insane.
I love that. Love it.
I mean, there's all sorts of craziness like
It
that because I
is.
mean, they helped fund Road Atlanta in the '80s, landing the coke plant on the back straight.
Oh, so crazy.
Like, yeah,
So
all
crazy.
sorts of craziness. But
Yeah, I think I'm bummed because like I used to read a lot of books growing up. I was like an avid reader, and then like don't have a lot of time for that anymore. So I really love reading like the Harry Potter series, and like the series of Unfortunate Events was like my jam. I really love some like you know, just some like murder mystery stuff. I just
my wife
listened
does
to
too.
I just listened to a book called the Project Hail Mary. It's about like a guy that goes to space and he's supposed to be like finding something, and then he wakes up from his coma and like his crew is dead, and he ends up finding this like alien that he can talk to, and like it's very interesting. It was pretty good. Like
That's
it was
fun.
different.
Yeah.
What was it?
But
I'm gonna find it.
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah,
Project Hail
Project
Mary.
Hail
Okay.
Mary. And actually, I meant to tell Daniel the last pod he was on. We were talking about books with our other guest, and he recommended Adrian Bourdain's book, and so I've actually been listening. I'm 50%
Anthony
done with that.
Bourdain.
Anthony
Anthony
Bourdain.
Bourdain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Have
I'm
you
a
not?
little
Have you read that
dyslexic.
or listened to that at all?
I'm halfway through.
Oh
and
my
it's
God!
awesome.
Anthony Bourdain,
Yes.
Kitchen
Yes.
Confidential. If you
It's
have ever worked in a restaurant, ever been in a restaurant, you need to listen to this. It is
it's awesome.
phenomenal.
Right.
It is
It's
so
Alright.
good.
really good. It's good stuff.
Love
It
that.
is. So obviously you don't have a whole lot of time, but Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
Xbox. What's in
Yep.
the console right now?
Probably MotoGP. Actually, I think it might be Forza 7.
Yeah.
So I actually bought Forza 7 this year because I had to buy it used on GameStop because it had the most number of Motoamerica tracks on it that I could learn while I was like cycling and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me tell you what, try cycling on an indoor cycle while also playing some sort of like motorcycle or car racing game.
Do not threaten me with a good time.
Very
Right,
difficult.
that's what I was
It
gonna
is so
say.
difficult. It's so hard though, because you're pedaling and then you're like, but in your brain you're like, I should be slowing down, which means I should stop pedaling. But like,
Yeah.
so it takes a little bit of like trying to figure out how to not do that.
Yeah.
I bet I could see where that would be. That would be tricky. And celebrity crush, Mallory Dobbs.
Celebrity crush.
Celebrity
Oh, no.
crush. Come on, everybody's got a crush, right? Everybody. My wife's is Gary Aldine. Is his name Gary
Oldman?
No,
What?
no.
I was just saying, like Gary.
No, he's a country singer. Gary
Jason Aldean.
no, not
Jason Aldean?
Jason Aldean.
His
That's
first
who
name
it
is
is.
Gary.
Trust if it's Aldean,
Gary.
it's Jason. Trust the guy that lives in Nashville. Okay.
My wife's gonna listen to this and be like, I can't believe you don't.
I can't
remember
believe
who-
it.
I can't believe it, Gary.
You know, it's funny. Like when you talk about country singers, though, like I feel like all of them look great with a cowboy hat on, and then the moment they like take it off, it's like you know, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw,
Oh,
like they
God.
look great with a
Kenny-
cowboy hat, and then you
Kenny-
take it off, and you're like, nope.
Kenny Chesney is 5.5 feet tall and bald.
I'm 5.5 feet tall,
No, no,
5'5".
You're not bald though.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. So the cowboy hat makes it so he looks like nice, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, God, well, he's a nice
I'd probably
dude,
say
but
Mark
Go ahead, sorry.
Wahlberg.
Marky
Mark.
Mark and the Funky Bunch. I like
God,
it.
I haven't heard it called that in years.
It was funny because I was just watching The Other Guys the other day. Man, what a movie
Yep.
that is!
Oh,
That's such an
good.
awesome movie.
It's good.
Yeah,
Best
it's good
Wahlberg
stuff.
movie is The Departed. That
Yeah,
movie
The
is
Departed.
so
Yes,
good.
that
Oh,
is.
I don't think he had to act very much for that movie.
No.
No, I don't
You
think-
know.
No.
So
Gary Allen, that's his name.
Gary Allen, there we go.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe, if you're listening to this.
So honestly, I'm the worst at song names and artists, and like also just like actors' names. Like I just don't my brain space can't save it. So like people will ask me like music trivia, like, and they'll be like, "Who sings this song?" And I'll be like, "I don't know." And they're like, "Are you freaking kidding me? This is Johnny Cash." And I'm like, I can't. It's so bad. I just can't.
The
My brain,
library isn't filled up with that.
Nope, it's not in there.
It's not in the memory.
Right.
Not in there.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, Mallory, listen, we've been at this for an hour already. It only seems like we've been going for like 20 minutes. It always.
I can talk a lot.
Listen, me too.
Hey,
I love.
we're godsend
talking.
at that.
Yes, yeah, me too. I could sit here and talk all day. Absolutely. So do you favorite music?
I'm all over the place. I like everything except for like rap or like any sort of like screamo music. But like from any given day, we could do some like EDM to like country within the same like span of 8 hours.
Right.
So like really anything.
Yeah. I listen to everything. I mean, pretty much except for.
I
like,
just really can't
old
get into
country.
I like to sing. I do like to sing. So like I can't really get into the rap situation.
Yeah, I don't
So-
listen. I do listen to rap, but most of it's old school rap. All the new stuff to me is
Yeah.
just like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I can get down on some like Machine Gun Kelly, but like
Yeah, I like MGK. I like MGK. So the newest rapper I've been, one of my buddies turned me on to is Young Dolph. So I have been listening to a little bit of Young Dolph. I ain't gonna
oh my
lie.
gosh,
Look,
what is it with all these? And there's a bunch of like rappers and like singers that are like young, whatever. Like this
yeah,
girl
I
in my
don't know.
office, I don't know what generation she is, but she's like younger than me, and she listens to Young Gravy, and it's
Never
terrible.
heard.
It's
Never
terrible.
heard of Young Gravy.
If you want to listen to some terrible music, you listen to some Young
It's
Gravy.
really not.
So
Well,
bad.
okay, let's start with the name.
Yeah,
Okay,
right. Young Gravy.
You're gonna make people say Young Gravy. Bars.
Young Gravy.
Like
Also,
that's
it's not
a
spelled
dick
right,
move, man.
right?
That's
It's
just
like
a jerk move. Like it's oh god.
I'd be like,
yeah,
I
and
like
it's spelled
biscuits and gravy.
Young.
Yeah,
No.
anyway.
No, yeah, and then man, it's sad. Dane Westby, man, Team Westby's not going to be
Oh
in
god, that
Motoamerica
sucks.
anymore.
I know.
I
There's a
know.
lot of things changing for next year. It's gonna be
It is.
Super Sport's gonna be stacked. Like
Super
from
Sport
everything that I've
is-
heard and everything that's been posted and everything, it's just like
yeah,
Super Sport's gonna be wild.
wild. It
Super
is. And then
Sport's gonna get out of hand.
I also heard Zavi don't even have a ride for next year yet.
Mm-mm.
They have that. I've got a small in with HSBK, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
I just
they're
think
not-
that's crazy.
They had a falling
Like,
out.
how,
Yeah.
but how when you're a Super Sport champ, like by a lot because
Yeah.
he murdered it, right? Let's just be honest.
And like HSBK is all about winners. I was about to be like, well, it's not all about winning, but on that team, I feel like it is because like they really only
Yeah.
want people that win.
Yeah,
So like,
I
don't
think
know.
Chavi wanted to go back to Europe.
Mm.
In all honesty,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't talked to my guy in a couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
I heard Baz is coming back.
Ruben Zaus is going to be. Yeah, I heard a little.
I heard
thing
Loris.
about
Loris would be smart
wanted to
coming
come
back.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
either that or he's going to be like some type of backup rider or something, or try
Right.
to get into like 24-hour endurance races.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
those
which
guys
is
are
just great.
psychos.
They are psychos, man.
Jesus.
Endurance
Yeah.
races. So, Mallory, you never been to the UK? I went my first time this year, August, to BSB, Cadwell Park, which is my favorite track in the world. And to actually be there and see that mountain jump's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on
Yeah.
two wheels. It's
I'm so
proper
excited.
mega. It's you're gonna love it. I loved it.
I love
It's
it,
gonna
yeah.
be such a good time. Now, would you ever consider doing like BSB racing with them guys out there?
I don't know. I mean, like honestly, if you had told me like a year, like if you had literally walked up to me and been like 2 years ago, been like, Mallory, you're gonna race the full season of pro with these guys, I'd be like, who are those guys? And what do you mean pro? Like I would literally like laugh at you.
Yeah.
So like my goals sometimes just kind of like have to change fluidly with like my expectations are a little low sometimes. And so even just like the whole world superbike thing, like just doing this like women's championship is like pretty cool. I think if I had the opportunity to do any racing, like if I could do BSB, like, yeah, I don't know, like any of that stuff, like I'd be like, oh yeah, for sure. Let's do it. I'm signed up, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Who's your favorite rider?
in Motoamerica or just in general?
In general.
Oh no, I don't know. I feel like I have a biased answer because
It's okay. Who's your favorite rider?
You're slightly embarrassed admitting this, apparently. So
no,
don't think about it.
okay. So my answer for it's multiple parts, but I think
Okay.
Cam Peterson is probably my favorite, but Andrew Lee right now is also my favorite, but I'm biased on that one. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew rips.
Andrew
does
is
rip.
the most talented rider
Yeah.
I've ever been able to.
Andrew
Like-
rips.
He hopped on a borrowed bike at Chuckwalla this weekend and like basically broke a track record. Never ridden
Saw
it.
that.
Four laps in, was like, here we go, no big deal.
I saw that.
And
I
you're
saw
like-
the road racing
He's
world
insane.
article. That's
He's
bananas.
putting together some big plans for next year too, so we'll
Good.
be seeing more of him out
Good.
there as well.
Good.
Good. So
That boy needs to be on the grid.
he does. And so does Stefano Mesa. Somebody give Stefano Mesa a full-time ride. That's another one.
That
Yeah.
I've
guy,
always was like, why
Yeah,
don't
he's
he
cool.
have a ride, right?
I've
Yep.
seen him do just ridiculous things. off super bikes.
Yeah,
like
he's
he's
also crazy
I was
talented.
at a race at Little Talladega, and there's a you come out of farmhouse and you come on the front straight and there's a little kink, and you stand it back up and you go to turn one. So he's in the middle of a slide going through the kink, and he goes, wait, I'm sitting here watching this, and I go, okay, this is what happened. I can't do this. But he's like, oh, I'm going to slide too much. And I'm going to hit the grass, get into the grass a little bit. Hang on. So instead of like just kind of rolling off of it, he picks the bike up a little bit, puts it in a wheelie. It stops sliding. He carries the line, sets it down, and then goes into turn one. Didn't lift. He's in top of fifth gear on a ZX10, and I'm sitting there. Me and my buddy Josh, we looked at that like, we're going back to camper. I can't. No, we're done.
You just feel like such a peasant after that. You're like, God. I am nothing compared to that.
I'm not worthy. Yes,
no.
You watch that
worthy.
shit, and you're just like, I don't even. What am I doing? Like,
yeah, I'm like, I don't even have that kind of bike control in a video game, let alone bike control in real life. Like trying to not die.
No, it's horrible.
That's a fact. It really is.
Yeah, some of those guys are just like insane. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Stefano's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, my thing is like, I mean, Andrew didn't race really competitively for 2 years. And I mean, like he was coaching and stuff, but that doesn't help you any. And so, I mean, just for him to come back and do as well as he is, like, it's just a testament to who he is as a rider, you know?
How talented he is. How talented he is.
Yeah, Dan, I think, did you ask about championship?
Well, yeah, he won two Motoamerica Stock 1000 championships.
Yep, back to back.
Back to back on a ZX10. So it's like, and he showed up at Barber for the last round one year, and they popped him for the gearbox or something.
Yeah.
Like something happened, and the bike he had with him wasn't legal for something, and he jumped in the superbike. It was a whole
shit show.
Yeah. That weekend, that was the weekend it rained for 4 days, and oh god, that was the weekend that Skoltzy crashed and went up
and then hung onto the bike forever.
Yeah,
with the clutch in, like I got it.
Waving the yellow flag when he did it. I was the guy in the corner standing there, and I was just like, that was the longest crash I've ever
seen. Yeah, dude, it happened. I was watching on TV. It was like slow motion too when it happened. I was like, what? It was awesome. I mean, I guess as far as a crash you could do, right?
Yeah. For sure.
It was just cool looking because he was just like surfing.
He's like, oh, I got it. No big deal.
I got this. No worries. I'm gonna get right back up and get to it.
I will say one thing I learned about America and like being around the pits more and meeting these people is like those superbike guys like Gagne and Campy and Skoltzy are all like the most genuine people.
Oh,
like I came out of the tower crying after they were like, you know, all that stuff. And they were just like, hey, you can't race because XYZ. I came out and I was trying to hold it together and I like couldn't. And I like came out and they all looked at me and they were like, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, they won't let me. And they were like, this is BS. Like, we're going to go talk to them. And they were so supportive of me. And I was like, just little old me. Like, I'm just this little peon, like trying to do super short, you know? And they were like, so like supportive, you know, like they gave me a hug and they were like, it's okay. Like, you know, whatever, we'll make sure to like let them know. And like, they were like, what if we like just like you go out to the grid and we'll just like circle around you and we'll just make sure like block them off from
that's a good cover for you. I mean, yeah.
it was so cute. And I was just like so happy with that. Like it just made me feel like I belonged there, you know? It was cool.
Absolutely you do. That's awesome. I hope you make it in 2024 in this female class. This is going to be proper.
Yeah.
Having an American out there kicking butt. Yes, let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'll make sure to let you know as soon as I know. Like I said, I think
for sure.
I'll probably post it. I mean, as soon as I know, I'm going to blast it out. But basically, like once we know, the application says like as soon as they tell us we have to pay our fee within like a week. So I gotta start getting my stuff put together to be like ready to do that. But yeah, so I'll be sure to let everybody know. And then, I mean, that's going to be for sure. If I get accepted to that, I'll for sure do that. And then maybe some Motoamerica rounds on the side, like maybe do the Ridge round since I'll be at home.
Sure.
Close to do. And like I said, we're going to do the 200. We're like 90% certain on the 200 thing. Plans are coming together. It's just a matter of all the logistics and stuff. So
that's awesome. I'm trying to make it to the 200 this year.
It's fun. That place is cool.
Yeah.
Also really iconic. Like to start my season at Daytona of like, you know, the NASCAR track. It's just like, and you're looking at the banking. Like I didn't walk the track because they were like, you don't really need to walk it. I was like, okay. But we went and watched flat track right afterwards because it got postponed because of the rain. And so they moved flat track to like Saturday night. So we were already done racing and everything. So we went to flat track that night and we're sitting on this wall up at the top, like watching. And then all of a sudden I turn around and I look down and I'm like, oh, that's that's the racetrack. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you were just on that? Like, I was just riding a motorcycle on that. And it's just like literally like straight down. It was nutty. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that
pretty
place
cool.
is that place is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm trying my best to make it there. I know I'm going to Atlanta and Jersey for sure, and Texas.
Cool.
But yeah, I really want to make for sure Daytona, because it's always been on my one track on my bucket list at least, right? Plus, I know a lot of people down there, like that whole SFL Mini GP, Michael Carrera and Juju and all them, Avery, of
Right.
course, the Lap Slayer, Dreyer, right, and all them, yeah. So
Lap
yeah,
Slayer
the
Trayer.
Lap Slayer, yeah. So Jules gave everybody nicknames, and the Lap Slayer is what he gave.
I love that.
Yeah, the Lap Slayer. It actually
The
goes
Lap
good.
Slayer
Yeah, the Lap
Dreyer.
Slayer Dreyer.
That's
Listen,
good.
MotoGP, who's your favorite rider in MotoGP?
Oh, I
Do you
don't
even
know.
watch MotoGP or World Superbike or anything? Or
I watch MotoGP. I would say I was rooting for Martin this year.
me too.
I really wanted
Yeah,
him
me
to
too.
win it, you know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like crush Pecco. But yeah, I would probably say it. But I didn't like how he handled the whole Alex Marquez thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
like his interview where he was like, you know, I was just and he like kind of blamed Alex
Yeah.
or Mark, and it was like, okay, like it wasn't really Mark's fault, and like, you know, all these it was just I didn't love that. So it's like one of the same thing where you're like, oh, you know, I like them as a writer, I like them as a person from afar, and then the more that you get invested, and then they start to do stuff like
You're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah. I also met my like the person I looked up to when I first started racing. I met her um through this interesting experience, and I would also recommend, yeah, don't meet the people you are
I hear that
like
all the time, but it's like every time I always say get better heroes. Like,
yeah.
because like
I have a better
every
hero. I have a better hero now, and I think she's wonderful. I also haven't
okay.
met her in person still though, but everybody says amazing things about Caroline Olsen.
Yeah.
And she's something I aspire to be like. So
Nice.
but
Nice. So, what do you think about Marquez and Ducati? You think he's got an opportunity to win the championship this year?
I think he does, honestly. But I mean, like, it's hard. I mean, the Honda thing is a legend, is a legacy. Like, I mean, that's what I mean. Mark's been doing for so long, and it's kind of hard to see that change. I think it's going to be a big adjustment for him, but I mean, he's talented, so it's either way. Like, once you have a talented rider, you know, they figure out a couple things, and then they'll be good to go. So I think he's got a shot at it for sure.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I don't know. At least the top three in the first
Yeah,
year with Ducati
for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
then World Superbike with Top Rack on BMW, which I can't wait for.
Yeah.
It's going to be proper, right? And then BMW, what did I read? I read something. I don't want to get this wrong, where they brought some Ducati engineers, somebody from Ducati over there to their BMW team. Like they're going big
They
in
grabbed
World Superbike.
they grabbed one of the engineers from the Ducati World Superbike, because all those guys, they're all like riders, they're all under contract.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's like they grabbed one of the data guys and they grabbed one of the I couldn't begin
Was
to
that
tell
the
you.
video? I watched a
Yeah.
video of the one where they like wrapped a guy up in tape and like
That was
locked him.
that was when Jack Miller went to KTM.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like
Yeah.
wrapped him up in duct tape, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna deliver him to you. Here you go."
Yep. That was Jack Miller's crew chief, because Jack took him with him to KTM.
Yeah.
That's
And
funny.
yeah, that was
We
great.
joked. I let one of my crew members help somebody else out at Coda because they were having some crew issues, and we joked that we should have done that with him when we dropped him off with him, just like wrapped him on duct tape, and be like, "Here you go, you can have him."
Shrink wrapped them up. Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun. Good luck.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Oh, sorry.
That's awesome. So who's all tell us, I should ask you this earlier. Like who all is in Mallory Dobbs's team at the track? Like your front rear
Like
stand person, tire warmer guy, all that good stuff.
yeah, so we had, I mean, the crew was fluid a little bit throughout the season, but for the Hyper Motard program, we had, so Doreen is my title sponsor, and she was there for a couple of the rounds to be there to support, which was super cool because I got to see her on the wall, like cheering me on, you know. So she got to be there, and then we had my friend Nat and Robert and Jeremy, who all helped out with the Hyper program. So we had a rear wheel guy and a front wheel. We always joked because the rear wheel guy had like, you know, an easier job because it's a single sided swing arm with one bolt. He's like, "Oh, done. What's taking you so long?" You know.
Right.
So we had a lot of crew for that, and Chris Lobkovich at CW Moto helped us put together. So he was running the Superbike team while also trying to help me out with the Super Sport and Super Hooligans. So it was quite a bit for him to handle. So Don Beck at Superbike Underground helped build bikes and put the data on, and really ended up crew chiefing for me for the remainder of the season, like for most of the season, even though it was begrudging. He didn't really want to do it. But he's like, I want to be a data guy. Why am I doing this? I'm like, well, because you appreciate me. I appreciate you. And
I need you,
and he's
please.
like, great. I love that you appreciate me, but I need to be doing something else. So he was super helpful. He like saved my season. Like it was insane. I didn't have transport to Laguna because some stuff happened in the team. And really he packed up all my stuff in a van, rented a van, and drove it down for me to bring to Laguna. And then I wandered around Laguna going, does anybody have any space for my team? Can I load my shit on somebody's trailer? So I met some cool people through it. I met the guys at SWG, AJ and them, and Carl's transport and stuff and their team. So they helped me out a bunch. So they were really kind of the team that kind of came in the back half and helped out and fed us and everything. So that was super cool. So Chris and Sarah at CW. Sarah was also there to help out and really manage the team, and she's great. There was lots of people that had part in helping, like I said.
Sounds like you had an awesome season for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without all of them for sure. Like every one of them was so great.
Yeah, because I remember at Jersey when after me and you talk, I come by and I seen you because I was actually looking for Carl. And you was like, yeah, he's over there in the Olin's tent or whatever. And I went over there.
Yeah, so they were pitted out in the gravel, and I somehow managed to get a garage in New Jersey. I was watching my emails, and literally like as soon as they posted that the garages were open, I like booked one because everybody was like, yeah, New Jersey's kind of like hit or miss. And so I was like, all right, I'll get one. And then apparently like I was one of the only ones that got one from my like friend group. So like everybody was like, can I get in the garage? Can I get in the garage? And it was like, well, there's not a lot of space, and like we need it. And so I kind of do like selfish. I felt so bad because like Mikey, like Gilbert, like got me coffee, was like, hey, you think you can? And I was like, I don't think I can. Like, there's not a space. And everybody was all mean about it. They were like, you have plenty of space. Quit being so greedy. And then it was like raining. I felt so bad. But the garages at New Jersey are not big. And the space you get, it's so small. And so, like, you think about, like, putting 3, 600s or 3 super sport bikes in there, and it was like, so.
Yeah, especially with the lifts and all that good stuff to go along with it. It's not very big. That's one thing I noticed too when I walked by there. I was like, man, those garages are tiny, right? New Jersey's not big at all. Like it's not a big
small.
Yeah, it's
and there's like people like pitted in the mud and stuff, right? Like there's just like gravel and grass, and they're just like, oh, I'll just throw a rug down, and it's like basically a giant puddle, and you're just like, oh gosh. I was really thankful that I got the garage. That was something that I was like, all right, next year, like if I'm doing New Jersey, we're for sure doing that again, because it was nice to have the space.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, 110%. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you on too much longer. We're almost an hour and 30 into this. This is awesome. I have such a great time doing this. I love doing this. And Mallory, again, I want to have you back on for sure.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah, of course.
So before we get off here, Mallory, tell everybody where they can find you on all the socials and get in touch with you. And how can people actually support you to help you out on your adventure? Like a lot of my mates out there in Europe, they always have like whatever the number is, like my buddy Jake, a Club 45 or a Club 22 or whatever, right? Have you ever thought about doing something like that? To where, let's say Mallory would be like, $39 for $40, you get a sticker and a shirt or whatever, and your name on my bike or something like that.
Yeah. I haven't really done anything like that. I dabbled in the Patreon stuff. I'm still trying to figure out what to exactly do with the Patreon. So like I have it set up, but I haven't really been active on it. I feel like it's a really good platform to use, but it's hard to do that when I'm managing everything else. Like I really want to get some more behind the scene footage and like some like just video vlog stuff of like, hey, this is what's happening today, and this is what we're doing, and this is where we're at, because I think everybody loves to see all that stuff. It's just a matter of like, I'm trying to get a new camera and get things put together so I can do that. So right now I've got a couple clothing companies that are helping me like produce some shirts and give me profits from those. Both Moto Steen and Moto Madness are 2 clothing companies that have t-shirt sales that they'll send me the profit from. Otherwise, I mean, I've got PayPal and Venmo and things, but I'm trying to put together some packages for people. Like I've been brainstorming some ideas of like, putting things together of saying like, okay, if you do this, then, this is what you would get. it's all just time and effort, you know. It's like
It
on
is.
my end to kind of put it together and come up with some unique ideas, right? Because I don't
Yeah.
want to be like everybody else that says like, well, if you do this, like, you know, like Brandon Posh has been doing all those raffles and things, the waffles,
The
and
waffle.
then
Yeah.
everybody else does waffles, and you're like, okay, that's not original because Posh called it a waffle, and now everybody's calling it a waffle, you know,
Yeah.
like. So trying to come up with some more ideas like that, but I mean, I'm active on Instagram mostly, probably the most on my Instagram. I've got my Facebook page as well. They're both linked. Emails on there for anybody that wants to reach out. I always tell people, like, you know, I am available to always chat about anything racing, any questions, you know, any girls that want to get into it, anybody that just has anything. I'm always approachable, both at a race round and outside of the race round, like, you know, anytime. I want to see more people do this and want to be, you know, a genuine person that can help out and really just make it like more like less daunting and more easily like readily available for people. Like there's a lot of information I had to figure out throughout the seasons. So like, you know, I'd love to be able to share any of that with people, but sometimes people just don't know. So
Well, that's a fact, right? That is
yeah.
a fact. 110%. Daniel, do you have anything to say before we get off?
Hurry up and figure out what you're doing next year. Jeez.
Time is ticking, Mallory. Come
know.
on now.
Well, you know, if Pin the Gas podcast, you know, to donate something, you know, 10 grand, we could be a super hooligan season,
Right.
you know.
Hey,
Listen,
Get it
Mallory,
going.
if I had 10 grand, I would be like, here it is. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh.
want to do all the racing, but I have to be realistic with the amount of money I'm gonna spend and you know
Yeah.
everything else. So, trying to get some support. I'm still trying to get some sponsorship lined up for next season. So, you know, just doing the grind, just reaching out to people, trying to figure it out.
That's
Yep.
it. That's it. So, listen, anybody listening wants to help out Mallory, you know how to get in touch with her. If not, get in touch with me or Daniel. We'll put you in contact with her for sure.
Definitely.
What an honor, Mallory. That's what I always tell people when I meet them because
Yes.
I really mean that. It's like the best thing I can give. The best compliment for anybody is it's an honor. What an honor it is, right? So it's an honor
Absolutely.
to have you on. This podcast will be out on all platforms except for Apple. So it'll be on Spotify, iHeart, blah, 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 right? All that good stuff. But yeah, listen, just stay on with me for a few seconds after I end the video and we'll chat for a minute, okay? But
Oh, sounds
thank you
good.
guys so much for watching the podcast. Everybody,
Yeah, thanks
Stephanie,
everybody.
Vanessa, Trevor, Martin,
Thanks guys.
Dow, yes, everybody. Thank you guys
All the
so
love
much.
for my ladies.
Yes, I love it. It's good stuff. Thank you, ladies. It's awesome. It's an honor to have everybody on here and watch. But listen, until next time. And real quick, because this is my last podcast for Christmas, right? I have one scheduled after with Juju at the end of the year. But yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody and a Happy New Year for sure. From everybody at Pin the Gas, me and Jules, Daniel, my buddy Mark. So yeah. And Mallory, what
Thanks.
an honor. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
being
much.
on here. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't
thanks for
wait to
having
do
me.
it again. No
Heck
problem.
yeah.
Until next time, thank you guys. I'm Chris the Show, of course, my man Daniel, and the legend herself, Mallory Dobbs.
Thank you.
All right, and